All right, let's get started. This briefing covers Anomaly SCP-1730. You probably know it by its more common name, What Happened to Site-13. We're going to walk through the entire operational history from our first disastrous contact right up to the final resolution.
You see this phrase? This question was scrawled everywhere inside the anomaly. In blood, in some kind of toxic sludge, you name it. It wasn't just graffiti, it was the central, haunting question that drove this entire investigation. It was like the site itself was trying to tell us its own horrible story.
Okay, so part one, how we found this place. Our first contact was, to put it mildly, a complete catastrophe. We stumbled upon a facility that, according to all of our records, should not exist. And our initial attempts to get a look inside, well, they cost us heavily. And here's the core paradox. Just look at this. In our world, Site-13 was a blueprint for a facility in Alaska, a project we scrapped. It was never built, period. But what we found was a massive, fully constructed, and deeply decayed facility in the middle of Texas. This wasn't just a misplaced building, it was a physical impossibility sitting right in front of us. This place, it actively fought back against us. We sent in 3 of our best MTF teams. The Mudslingers, a total loss. Gulliver's Travelers, vanished. Their last report mentioned finding bodies fused to a reactor core. And the Mole Rats, they got torn to shreds. One of their agents was killed by a leech-like creature. Well, the report is graphic. The site was a meat grinder with shifting hallways, words on the wall that could kill you if you looked at them, and things that wanted to do more than just kill you. The cost of entry was total mission failure, every single time. After losing so many personnel, we changed tactics. No more boots on the ground. We sent in a drone, and that's when we finally got our first real breakthrough. The drone managed to pull some data logs, and what we found started to paint a picture of where this nightmare facility came from. And let me tell you, it's a very, very ugly picture. This is where their history splits from ours. In their reality, the Foundation went bankrupt in '96, and the Global Occult Coalition stepped in and took over. Yeah, the GOC. Our entire mission of secure, contain, protect got thrown right out the window. It was replaced by something far more brutal, especially under the command of a man named Director Elliot Emerson at Site-13. This wasn't our Foundation anymore. It was a twisted, corrupted version of it. And this was Emerson's signature policy, the Mortuary Protocol. He saw humanoid anomalies as nothing more than disposable resources. They were subjected to horrific experiments, and then, when he was done, thrown into a massive incinerator they called the body pit. The remains, this vile biological sludge, became the literal foundation of the site's downfall. Goes to show, cruelty always has consequences. In all that horror, we found a flicker of humanity. This is from a letter written by a Dr. Vera Hadley. She'd apparently grown attached to one of the anomalies, a young boy with leech-like abilities. You can just feel the rage in her words, right? To her, he wasn't a monster to be disposed of. He was a kid. And when Emerson ordered him to be burned, well, that was the final straw for her. Her plan for revenge was, frankly, it was brilliant in the most terrifying way imaginable. She didn't plan a bomb. She used the site's own cruelty against it. She messed with the boy's termination record, sabotaged the body pit's drainage system, and ensured that when they threw him into the incinerator, the fire didn't kill him. It just made him angry. He merged with all that toxic sludge from the others, and they created their own doom. So now Emerson is facing this colossal monster born from his own cruelty. And he does what all cowards do. He runs. He activates an experimental, highly unstable device called the Thresher. It was a panic button, a last-ditch effort to escape. And in his desperation, he tore the entire facility out of his reality and dropped it, bleeding and broken, right into ours. That's how it got here.
So, moving on to part 3, the final mission. For years, we considered the site a total loss. But then, we got a signal, a distress beacon, looping over and over. There were survivors trapped inside. Suddenly, this wasn't just a recon job anymore. It was a rescue. Now, you can't send a standard team into a hell like that. It would be a suicide mission. So Overwatch Command didn't send a standard team. They sent in the best of the best. Mobile Task Force Tau-5, Samsara. Functionally immortal cyborgs grown from the flesh of a deity. If anyone could survive this, it was them.
Tau-5 made it inside and eventually linked up with the survivors and the remnants of MTF Zeta-9. But they are pinned down, cornered by that same colossal leech entity from the body pit. That's when Zeta-9's commander, Captain Hollis, made a tactical decision that you will not find in any Foundation field manual. She needed a distraction, a really, really big one. So she decided to fight a monster by unleashing gods. She ordered the release of 2 Olympia-class anomalies from their containment cells, which we learned is what their Foundation called god-tier entities they had somehow managed to cage. The first one they let out of its box? Our very own SCP-001, the Gate Guardian, a colossal flaming angel with a sword that burns as hot as the sun. Now imagine that, but underground, in a concrete facility. And the second? SCP-2845, the Deer, a towering being that can literally rewrite reality around itself. So now you have 2 gods set loose in the dark depths of Site-13, ready for a fight. What followed was a battle of absolutely mythic proportions. You have the Prime Leech, this massive, vengeful sludge monster with Dr. Hadley herself fused into its tongue, going up against a flaming angel and a reality-bending deer god. The sheer pandemonium gave the survivors the cover they needed. That was their only window to escape the lower levels. Okay, let's wrap this up with the aftermath. The extraction was successful, but the story doesn't end there. The debriefing logs from the survivors left us with some truly haunting and completely unresolved questions. In a final act of sacrifice, Captain Hollis and Anru from Samsara fought their way back to the Thresher device. They cranked it to full power and hit the switch one last time. The entire site, the leech, the gods, everything, it just vanished from our reality. For our official purposes, the anomaly is considered neutralized. But neutralized doesn't feel like the right word. The debriefing logs are chilling. One rescued agent, his legs were severed, but he can still feel them. He says he feels things brushing past them, even now. Then there's the fact that their Foundation had dozens of these Olympia-class cells. How in the world were they containing that many godlike beings? It's a feat we can't even comprehend. And maybe the most disturbing piece of the puzzle, Anru from Tau-5 reported that, right before the end, an entity in the server room showed Captain Hollis a vision of a hole at the center of the universe. Whatever she saw in that moment made her decide to erase Site-13 from existence entirely. So, the official file on SCP-1730 is closed, but the real questions linger. Where did Captain Hollis send that place? And what kind of nightmares did she just bury for us out there in the dark? It's one of the Foundation's most profound and disturbing unknowns. And frankly, I'm not sure we ever want to find the answer. That concludes this briefing.